Continuing from the previous chapter, Lin Dong set up a trap to lure the powerful figures of the Demonic Rock Dynasty to pursue him. Above the forest sea, a gentle breeze stirred, creating ripples of lush greenery that spread outwards, eventually extending beyond the limits of sight. At the center of this verdant sea, a massive, four-sided black curtain stood silently. Within its darkness, not a single movement could be detected, a stillness so profound it sent chills down one's spine. In the area surrounding the black curtain, extending several dozen feet, there was a semi-darkness. The light from the sky, as it filtered down, was swallowed up by the curtain, making it appear from afar like a terrifying, bottomless pit. Lin Dong stood quietly outside the black curtain, his gaze fixed on the creation before him, his eyes flickering with a myriad of emotions, astonishment, admiration. Well, what do you think? This is just one of the abilities of the devouring ancestral talisman. The devouring realm, said Little Mink, who suddenly appeared on Lin Dong's shoulder, a smug smile on its face as it looked at the devouring realm. As long as someone is inside, their primordial energy, even their spiritual energy, will gradually be devoured. You are the master within, maintaining the battle in a state where you grow stronger while your opponent weakens, until they are completely drained. However, your strength is still too weak. If you could grow a bit stronger, this devouring realm would become even more terrifying. Someone like that Lei Shi, with his meager skills, would find his primordial energy exhausted in less than 10 breaths, without the need for this prolonged waiting. Moreover, if in the future you can fully harness the devouring ancestral talisman, it won't just devour primordial and spiritual energy, it could even forcibly consume life force. Life force. Lin Dong was visibly moved upon hearing this. I've seen ancient records mentioning that in ancient times, a mighty figure once obtained the devouring ancestral talisman. When their devouring realm expanded, within 10,000 miles, with a single thought, all life would be utterly extinguished. Little Mink's eyes held a trace of awe, as if even it was deeply impressed by such a level of power. Is there no way to break free from the devouring realm? Lin Dong couldn't help but ask. If the devouring realm could not be countered once activated, it would indeed be overwhelmingly powerful. There's no such thing as absolute invincibility in this world. While the devouring realm is indeed formidable, it also has its limits. For example, with your current strength, this version of the devouring realm might struggle to trap and kill someone who has truly crossed the Nirvana tribulation. Little Mink shook its head. Lin Dong felt a bit enlightened by this. He knew how powerful someone who had crossed the Nirvana tribulation could be, and he wasn't so naive as to think he could easily defeat such a strong opponent. Of course, while you might not be able to use it to trap and kill those who have crossed the Nirvana tribulation, it would still require them a great deal of effort to break free. In the future, if you encounter such a difficult opponent, just deploying the devouring realm should allow you to at least escape unharmed. Lin Dong nodded slowly, a slight thrill in his heart. This level of ability had already exceeded his expectations. He knew there were certainly experts in the Demonic Rock Dynasty who had survived the Nirvana tribulation. Since he was now at odds with them, he had to prepare more strategies to deal with future troubles. It seems like it's almost time. Lin Dong raised his head, looking at the devouring realm before him. He could sense that the presences within had grown extremely weak. With a smile, he waved his hand, causing ripples to form on the calm surface of the devouring realm. Black light surged, gradually fading away. As the devouring realm dissipated, the darkness that had weighed heavily like ink quickly vanished. In its place, a few dull thuds were heard, and 10 battered figures fell from midair, barely managing to stay on the forest sea below. These 10 figures were none other than Lei Shi and his companions, who had been trapped in the devouring realm. Now, however, their faces were deathly pale, their auras extremely faint. The powerful waves of primordial energy that had once surrounded them had all but disappeared. The sudden retreat of the darkness caught Lei Shi and his companions off guard. The sunlight, though not blinding, caused them to squint their eyes as they gasped for breath. Their faces still bore traces of fear. Clearly, they had suffered greatly within the devouring realm. Lin Dong was well acquainted with the oppressive darkness created by the devouring power. He remembered all too well how, when he was first engulfed by the devouring ancestral talisman, he was nearly driven mad. Though Lei Shi and his group had only been trapped in the devouring realm for a matter of minutes, it was enough to leave a lasting shadow in their hearts. It was likely they would never dare to enter a dark place again. Lin Dong smiled as he looked at the disheveled Lei Shi and his companions. With a faint smile, he remarked, "It seems the Demonic Rock Dynasty is going to suffer another loss this time." Upon hearing Lin Dong's voice, Lei Shi's heart skipped a beat. He hurriedly lifted his head and saw Lin Dong watching them with a smile not far away. A chill ran down his spine. He couldn't comprehend how Lin Dong possessed so many incredible abilities. That so-called devouring realm, for instance, was something far beyond what an ordinary heavenly talisman master could ever conjure. At that moment, Lei Shi vaguely sensed that their Demonic Rock Dynasty had truly hit an iron wall this time. "Retreat!" Lei Shi felt Lin Dong's mocking and icy gaze, and his scalp tingled slightly. Nonetheless, he was decisive. Given their current predicament, there was no way they could continue to fight Lin Dong. Despite their numbers, their combat strength was less than a tenth of its peak. Trying to fight Lin Dong now would be like an egg striking a rock. Upon hearing Lei Shi's urgent command, Chen Mu and the others' expressions changed. Gritting their teeth, they mustered what little primordial energy remained within them and scattered in different directions, fleeing. Even now, Lei Shi and his men managed to withdraw in the calmest manner possible, which slightly surprised Lin Dong. The Demonic Rock Dynasty indeed lived up to its reputation as a high-ranking dynasty, displaying a level of discipline far beyond those of the mid- and low-ranking dynasties. However, Lin Dong had put considerable effort into setting up this trap, and merely scaring Lei Shi and his companions away wasn't his objective. He urgently needed Nirvana Pills, and these people were valuable targets. There was no way he would let them escape so easily. If you think you can escape now, you're a bit too late. Watching the figures fleeing in all directions, Lin Dong chuckled. With a thought, his vast spiritual energy surged forth, transforming into 10 giant hands that reached out to grab the fleeing figures. Boom! 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 Seeing the giant spiritual energy hands reaching down on them, Lei Shi and his companions were alarmed. They tried to muster their remaining primordial energy to attack, but their feeble attacks couldn't even budge the hands. "Come here!" Lin Dong's hands closed in, and one by one, the figures were dragged back, flung violently to the ground, the force causing them to spew blood profusely. Lei Shi was the last one to be captured, and it must be said that this guy did put up some resistance. Even in his current state, he made Lin Dong expend a bit more effort to catch him. Bang! Lei Shi was thrown into the midst of his companions, and they all looked up with pale faces at Lin Dong, who had landed in front of them with a smile. Even at this moment, they were somewhat dazed. Not long ago, they had held an absolute advantage. Who would have thought that in less than half an hour, they would all end up as prey in Lin Dong's hands? "What do you want?" Lei Shi's face alternated between pale and flushed. He clearly hadn't expected that, despite all their preparations, they would end up in such a predicament. "Hand over your cosmic bags. I don't want to hear a single word I don't like, and I'd rather not have to do it myself." Lin Dong smiled warmly, but to Lei Shi and his companions, that smile was chilling to the bone. Some defiant words rose to their lips, but seeing Lin Dong smile, they swallowed them back down. Lei Shi's expression flickered for a while before he finally had to accept the harsh reality. At this point, they didn't even have the right to refuse. "Take it!" Lei Shi pulled out a cosmic bag from his chest, his hand trembling as he threw it over. Chen Mu and the others, seeing this, could only suppress their pain and follow suit, handing over their cosmic bags. Lin Dong accepted the 10 cosmic bags, his spiritual energy quickly probing inside. After a moment, a satisfied smile appeared on his face. The Nirvana pills in these bags totaled around 300,000, a truly substantial amount for him. Besides the Nirvana Pills, there were also several valuable beast crystals. In Lei Shi's cosmic bag, Lin Dong even found 3 beast crystals from Nirvana Stage demonic beasts. The abundant Nirvana Chi within them was equivalent to about 10 to 20,000 Nirvana Pills. Over 300,000. Still not enough. Lin Dong muttered to himself as he unceremoniously pocketed the Nirvana Pills. He frowned slightly. He wasn't planning to recklessly attempt a breakthrough to the Nirvana Stage. He needed to prepare adequately, aiming for at least 1 million Nirvana Pills to ensure his success. Getting Nirvana Pills isn't that difficult. These guys, in fact, are like living Nirvana Pills. As Lin Dong furrowed his brows, Little Mink's mischievous voice sounded in his mind again. Nirvana Stage experts are crucial for any high-ranking dynasty. The others here are all quasi-Nirvana Stage. Given the opportunity, they could all advance to the Nirvana Stage. If we kill this group, the Demonic Rock Dynasty will suffer a massive blow. So, I think they'd be quite willing to trade a large number of Nirvana Pills to save these guys' lives. Lin Dong paused for a moment. Then a grin spread across his face, sending a chill down the spines of Lei Shi and his companions. He murmured under his breath, "Kidnapping and ransom. Sounds like a fun idea." Although they couldn't hear what Lin Dong was muttering, seeing his expression was enough for Lei Shi and his men to feel a creeping dread. After their battle today, they understood that the man before them was anything but kind. Who knew what twisted method he might use to deal with them? Lin Dong, if you kill us, then there will be no turning back between you and the Demonic Rock Dynasty. Your strength and methods are indeed formidable, but I am not the strongest in the Demonic Rock Dynasty. You should be able to guess the level of the true experts. Such people are not ones you can afford to offend. Despite being in a dire situation, Lei Shi, not being an ordinary person, still managed to maintain a hint of defiance in his words. Isn't it already a situation of no turning back between me and the Demonic Rock Dynasty? Do you really think that if I let you go, all our grievances would be wiped clean? Lin Dong chuckled, causing Lei Shi to freeze momentarily. But don't worry, I won't kill you. Lin Dong's words made Lei Shi and the others momentarily pause. With a smile on his face, Lin Dong casually grabbed one of them and tossed him out, saying, "Go back and tell the leaders of your Demonic Rock Dynasty that if they want Lei Shi and the others to live, they'll need to trade them for Nirvana Pills." You dare use hostages to blackmail our Demonic Rock Dynasty? Hearing this, Lei Shi and the others finally understood Lin Dong's plan. They were all dumbfounded, then immediately filled with anger and disbelief. Tell the Demonic Rock Dynasty to prepare 1 million Nirvana Pills. I will come to collect them. If they refuse, I won't mind letting you collect a few corpses. Lin Dong ignored their outrage and instead directed his words at the Demonic Rock Dynasty member he had thrown out. The member's face paled and flushed alternately. It was evidently the first time he had encountered someone bold enough to extort their dynasty. However, he wasn't a fool. With Lei Shi and the others completely in Lin Dong's grasp, he had no power to resist. I will deliver your message, but I'm afraid you might not dare to come and collect. The Demonic Rock Dynasty member gritted his teeth, left a parting threat, and then fled in a sorry state. Watching the figure retreat, Lin Dong turned back with a smile, looking at Lei Shi and the others. I've given you a chance to live. Whether your leaders are willing to pay the Nirvana Pills to save your lives depends on how much they value you. 1 million Nirvana Pills? You're being too greedy. I'm afraid you won't be able to stomach that many. Lei Shi growled through gritted teeth. Don't worry. I can handle as many as they're willing to offer. That's not something you need to worry about. You should be more concerned about whether they're willing to part with the Nirvana Pills or if, in their eyes, you aren't worth 1 million Nirvana Pills. Lin Dong stretched lazily, his eyes showing a mysterious glint. His approach was quite ruthless. Even if the leaders of the Demonic Rock Dynasty were unwilling to exchange Nirvana Pills for their lives, and Lei Shi and the others managed to return, a seed of discord would have been sown in their hearts, laying the groundwork for future conflict. Lei Shi and his men wore grim expressions, their eyes dark and uncertain, as they wondered what the future held for them. Lin Dong ignored their expressions. With a thought, his spiritual energy infiltrated their bodies, forming a seal that would prevent them from absorbing the primordial energy of heaven and earth to heal their injuries. Furthermore, if they made any sudden movements, Lin Dong would immediately sense it. It looks like we need to leave this place first. With these 300,000 Nirvana pills, I should be able to push towards the half-step Nirvana stage. Now that I'm in open conflict with the Demonic Rock Dynasty, I must quickly improve my strength. After completing these preparations, Lin Dong pondered for a moment, then shook his arm. Little Yin shot out from his sleeve, transforming into its battle form, and hoisted Lei Shi and the others onto its back. Flapping its wings, it flew away with Lin Dong, swiftly disappearing from the mountain range. After flying away from the mountains, Lin Dong found another secluded spot to land. With a wave of his sleeve, he knocked Lei Shi and the others unconscious. Only then did Little Mink lazily emerge, swaying as it appeared. I'm going to attempt to break through to the half-step Nirvana stage. Watch over these guys for me, Lin Dong said with a smile as he looked at Little Mink. Okay, but first you need to erase that blood imprint inside your body. It's useless now, Little Mink replied cautiously with a nod. Lin Dong chuckled, wasting no time. He sat down cross-legged, focused his mind, and gradually entered a meditative state, channeling his primordial energy to erase the blood imprint within his body. The removal of the blood imprint took Lin Dong an entire day. It was indeed a troublesome task, but not overly difficult. With his abundant primordial energy, Lin Dong managed to completely remove it safely. With the blood imprint removed, Lin Dong quietly breathed a sigh of relief. This way, the Demonic Rock Dynasty would no longer be able to track his whereabouts. Now, it's time to aim for the half-step Nirvana stage. Lin Dong had been at the peak of the creation stage for some time. Through his recent training, he had already reached the absolute limit of the creation stage. As long as he had sufficient Nirvana Chi, breaking through to the half-step Nirvana stage wouldn't be too much of a challenge. And as for Nirvana Chi, Lin Dong, who had just obtained 300,000 Nirvana pills, clearly had more than enough. A puff of white breath escaped from Lin Dong's nostrils. He raised his hand, and countless round, fiery red Nirvana pills surged out from his cosmic bag like a torrent, forming a blazing river that spiraled above him. With such a large number of Nirvana pills appearing, the surrounding atmosphere seemed to boil. Strands of scorching Nirvana Chi permeated the air, making it increasingly dry. Lin Dong looked up, his pupils reflecting the rolling torrent of Nirvana pills. With a smile, he focused his mind, and a black hole slowly expanded above him. The devouring power surged, and Nirvana pills began to rush down in a continuous stream, pouring into the black hole as if swallowed by a bottomless pit. As more and more Nirvana pills flowed in, Lin Dong's skin gradually turned a fiery red. Faint, golden glimmers could be seen flickering beneath the surface. In Demonic Rock City, located in the northwestern region of the ancient battlefield, the city's reputation was well known. Naturally, this fame was due to its ruler, the Demonic Rock Dynasty. Within Demonic Rock City, many dynasties could be found, most of them mid to low-ranking. However, there were also a few high-ranking dynasties. Here, they all had to acknowledge the city's sole ruler, the Demonic Rock Dynasty. The fact that so many dynasties, including some high-ranking ones, recognized this rule was a testament to the strength of the Demonic Rock Dynasty. Recently, the hottest topic of discussion in Demonic Rock City was none other than Lin Dong, the audacious individual who had dared to kill a Nirvana Stage expert of the Demonic Rock Dynasty. Some of the more well-informed dynasties had received news that the Demonic Rock Dynasty had sent a formidable team to hunt down Lin Dong. This team included powerful Nirvana Stage experts like Lei Shi and Chen Mu. Many believed that Lin Dong was as good as dead, given their understanding of these experts' capabilities. Chen Mu had absorbed 500,000 Nirvana pills when breaking through to the Nirvana Stage, while Lei Shi was even more formidable. Though he had failed during the Nirvana tribulation, he managed to cling to life, making him far more powerful than ordinary Nirvana Stage experts. The rest of the team comprised quasi-Nirvana Stage experts, who all had the potential to enter the Nirvana Stage in the future. With such a lineup, it wasn't just Lin Dong, a newly ascended Heavenly Talisman Master, who seemed doomed. Even two of them would likely struggle to escape death. The heated discussions continued in Demonic Rock City for several days. Yet, as many awaited the return of Lei Shi and his group, no one came back, leaving some people confused. The more perceptive among them sensed that something wasn't quite right. Under these circumstances, the atmosphere in the city grew even more charged. While the Demonic Rock Dynasty was the ruler of Demonic Rock City, the people here were not the kind to willingly bow to others, especially those from the high-ranking dynasties. Normally, they dared not provoke the Demonic Rock Dynasty due to its strength. But if the dynasty were to suffer a loss and its authority diminish, they would be more than happy to see it happen. Amidst the turmoil in the city, 2 more days passed, and finally, many saw a disheveled figure flying into the city from the sky. The city had no shortage of capable individuals, and at a glance, they recognized this returning person as one of the group that had left with Lei Shi. However, when they left, they were a powerful, imposing force. Now only a single ragged figure had returned. As they watched the battered figure, a hush fell over Demonic Rock City. A chilling thought crept into everyone's mind, leaving them secretly astonished. In the center of Demonic Rock City stood a tall tower, the highest building in the city, from which one could overlook the entire area. At this moment, in the stone hall at the top of the tower, the atmosphere was tense to the point of suffocating. The powerful figures of the Demonic Rock Dynasty were all gathered there, their fearful gazes locked onto the figure at the top of the hall. There, a man in white robe sat silently on a stone chair. He said nothing, yet a terrifying chill emanated from him. Under the intense gazes of the crowd, the white-robed figure on the stone seat slowly lowered his head, looking at the trembling figure kneeling in the hall. His handsome face bore a faint smile. That Lin Dong wants us to prepare 1 million Nirvana Pills to exchange for Lei Shi and the others' lives? Hearing the laughter from the stone seat, the returning Demonic Rock Dynasty member trembled, sweat soaking his back. He nodded, shaking. Boom! A fierce wind swept through the hall, sending the Demonic Rock Dynasty member crashing into a stone pillar. Blood spurted from his mouth, and he lowered his head even further, not daring to wipe the blood from the corner of his mouth. A bunch of worthless fools. The smile on the white-robed man's face faded. He slowly stood up, a chilling, sinister smile curling his lips as he stared into the distance, his eyes filled with a cold gleam. I will prepare the Nirvana Pills for him, but I'm afraid he won't have the guts to come and take them. The news of Lei Shi and his group's crushing defeat at Lin Dong's hands spread rapidly, even though the Demonic Rock Dynasty tried to suppress it. The entire city was abuzz with shock and disbelief. This outcome was clearly beyond what anyone in the city had anticipated. When Lei Shi and his group set out, everyone thought the outcome was a foregone conclusion. With such a powerful team, capturing a newly ascended Heavenly Talisman Master should have been an easy task. But the final result left everyone's eyes wide in disbelief. And what caused hearts to race even more was Lin Dong's subsequent act of kidnapping and extortion. When this news spread, even those with strong composure were stunned for a long time before taking a deep breath to regain their senses. The expressions on their faces could only be described as spectacular. While the Demonic Rock Dynasty might not be an unchallenged overlord in the northwestern region of the ancient battlefield, it was still a force to be reckoned with. Even the high-ranking dynasties were reluctant to clash with them. Firstly, the Demonic Rock Dynasty was undeniably powerful. Secondly, the dynasty was known for its vengefulness and ruthlessness, stopping at nothing to achieve its goals. Nobody wanted to get involved with such a troublesome entity. So, even though the Demonic Rock Dynasty was quite overbearing, few dared to openly challenge them. Of course, the dynasty wasn't entirely brainless. They knew which dynasties not to provoke. Over time, this only made the Demonic Rock Dynasty's reputation grow even louder. So when the dynasties in Demonic Rock City heard that someone was daring enough to blackmail the Demonic Rock Dynasty, it was like hearing earth-shattering news. The shock was truly unparalleled. Therefore, in the following days, everyone in Demonic Rock City was eagerly waiting. They were curious to see if the person who boldly demanded 1 million Nirvana Pills from the Demonic Rock Dynasty in exchange for the hostages would actually have the audacity to come and collect. Of course, there were also those who believed that Lin Dong was merely putting on a show. To them, it seemed improbable that Lin Dong would dare to come to Demonic Rock City to claim the Nirvana Pills. While his victory over Lei Shi and his group was surprising, they reminded themselves that Lei Shi and his group were not the strongest in the Demonic Rock Dynasty. Regardless of the varying opinions, it was clear that everyone in Demonic Rock City was waiting for the arrival of this one individual. While everyone in Demonic Rock City eagerly awaited the arrival of the mysterious figure, a different scene was unfolding in the distant mountains. There, the air was thick with heat as a torrent of Nirvana Pills, resembling a fiery pillar of light, swirled above the mountain peak, emanating an astonishing amount of Nirvana Chi. Beneath this torrent, Lin Dong sat quietly in a meditative pose. His body had turned a deep crimson, looking like red-hot embers, with a scorching heat radiating from him, causing the nearby grass to wither and dry up. Above him, a black hole slowly rotated, continuously swallowing the torrent of Nirvana Pills. The pills were rapidly consumed and refined into a steady stream of Nirvana Chi that flooded into Lin Dong's body, saturating his limbs and bones. This time, Lin Dong had taken out a full 100,000 Nirvana Pills, a staggering number. To put it in perspective, even Li Pan had only used this amount when breaking through to the Nirvana Stage. But Lin Dong was using this amount merely to reach the half-step Nirvana Stage, a display of extravagance and ambition. With 100,000 Nirvana Pills as his foundation, Lin Dong had no concern about running out of Nirvana Chi. His only worry was whether his body could withstand the onslaught of such immense Nirvana Chi. Nirvana Chi had a remarkably profound effect on refining and strengthening the body. However, like any potent medicine, excessive consumption could be poisonous. Nirvana Chi followed this principle as well. If one forcibly absorbed more than their body could handle, it could ignite from within, burning a person to ashes without leaving a trace. To absorb the Nirvana Chi from 100,000 Nirvana Pills in one go would be reckless for anyone, even those at the quasi-Nirvana stage, like Lu Yuan and his peers who would cautiously absorb it bit by bit. Lin Dong's method, akin to swallowing it all in one gulp, could only be attempted by those who had successfully passed the Nirvana tribulation and had the confidence to take such risks. Thus, from any perspective, absorbing the Nirvana Chi from 100,000 Nirvana Pills at once was a highly foolish move. If Lin Dong did not possess the devouring ancestral talisman or had not cultivated the minor Nirvana golden body, he would have been reduced to ashes by now. But unfortunately for his adversaries, there were no ifs in this world. Lin Dong's audacity came from his confidence and resources. Through the devouring ancestral talisman, the violent nature of the Nirvana Chi was greatly subdued. Combined with his body, fortified by the minor Nirvana golden body, although the absorption process was still arduous, the worst-case scenario was avoided. He successfully resisted the kind of rampant Nirvana Chi that could have incinerated his body. Little Mink, sitting on Little Yan's tiger back, watched Lin Dong, whose entire body was radiating intense heat waves, and couldn't help but nod slightly. It could feel Lin Dong's primordial energy surging within him at an incredible rate. Clearly, the 100,000 Nirvana Pills had provided him with substantial benefits. At this rate, I guess in another 2 days, he should be able to completely absorb all these Nirvana Pills, Little Mink muttered to itself. If this pace were made known, it would likely leave many people dumbfounded. For anyone else, absorbing 100,000 Nirvana Pills would take at least half a month. But Lin Dong, relying on the power of the devouring ancestral talisman, managed to do so in just a few days, without any side effects. As predicted by Little Mink, after 2 days had quietly passed, the torrent that had been swirling in mid-air finally dissipated completely. With the last Nirvana pill being sucked into the black hole, a brief silence fell over the mountain peak. This silence lasted for several seconds before an astonishing wave of energy suddenly erupted from Lin Dong, who had his eyes tightly shut. The nearby boulders were instantly pulverized into dust. His closed eyes suddenly opened, shooting out two crimson beams of light that pierced through the forest below, leaving two massive, charred scars hundreds of feet long in the verdant landscape. A burst of flame-like red energy spewed from Lin Dong's mouth, scorching the air before him until it was utterly dry. He looked down at his hands, and with a thought, brilliant golden light rapidly surged beneath his skin. In an instant, both hands transformed, appearing as if they were forged from pure gold, gleaming with an indestructible aura. With his official entry into the half-step Nirvana stage, Lin Dong's minor Nirvana golden body had also reached a state of great completion. It was now strong enough to rival the Nirvana golden bodies of some Nirvana stage experts. Generally speaking, when one steps into the half-step Nirvana stage, their physical body undergoes significant enhancement due to the infusion of a large amount of Nirvana chi. There may be faint signs of forming a Nirvana golden body, but clearly, few could reach Lin Dong's level. Their enhancements typically resulted in merely stronger bodies. The more outstanding individuals might temporarily manifest some solid golden light on their bodies, but none could achieve what Lin Dong had, transforming both arms to appear as though they were cast from pure gold. Lin Dong casually reached out with his golden glowing hand toward a nearby giant tree. At the moment of contact, his hand sliced through the trunk as if it were cutting through tofu. The sharpness of his grip was astonishing. "Not bad," Lin Dong murmured, quite pleased. A faint smile appeared on his face as the golden light on his hands gradually dimmed, returning to their normal color. He stretched lazily and stood up. "Your absorption rate was faster than I expected. It seems you're getting more adept at controlling the devouring ancestral talisman," Little Mink remarked, flying over with a grin. Lin Dong smiled, his gaze shifting to Lei Shi and the others, who were still unconscious. He said softly, "It seems it's time to go and collect the Nirvana Pills. But I suspect it won't be too smooth this time." Even without receiving news from the outside, he could guess the commotion his actions had caused. Most likely, the leader of the Demonic Rock Dynasty was already gnashing his teeth, waiting for his arrival. People die for wealth, birds die for food. Without Nirvana Pills, breaking through to the Nirvana stage is impossible. Little Mink chuckled mischievously, clearly relishing the chaos. Lin Dong pursed his lips and nodded. He wasn't afraid. No matter how fierce the Demonic Rock Dynasty was, he had a way to escape. The ancient battlefield was vast. Did they really think they could control everything? By the way, while you were cultivating, I made some modifications in these guys' bodies. If they try anything in the future, they'll be in for a tough time, Little Mink added with a wicked smile. Lin Dong paused, then chuckled. Little Mink truly was full of tricks. Even now, when they were planning to use these guys to exchange for Nirvana Pills, it still laid a trap. Gut, it'll save us some trouble in the future. Lin Dong looked up, his gaze fixed on the distant horizon. The fire in his eyes reignited with intensity. It's time to set off. I want to see what the Demonic Rock Dynasty is truly capable of. As for those million Nirvana Pills, I'm definitely getting them. Demonic Rock City had recently become the focal point of attention for many in the Northwest region. The shocking news that had spread from here had quickly reached far and wide. This spread of news piqued the interest of many, and some even traveled specifically to Demonic Rock City, eager to witness what kind of incredible skills this person who dared to extort the Demonic Rock Dynasty possessed. As a result, the city's popularity suddenly surged, and everyone in Demonic Rock City eagerly awaited the explosive scene to unfold. Under this eager anticipation, 2 days quietly passed. However, Lin Dong, who was rumored to come and collect the Nirvana Pills, had yet to appear. This delay caused some impatience and doubt among the crowd. Could it be that he was merely boasting, try to provoke the Demonic Rock Dynasty? If that were the case, it would indeed be a bit disappointing. As time passed, some sneers and disdainful remarks began circulating in the city. It seemed many believed that this recent uproar was merely a spectacle created by a young man named Lin Dong to draw attention. Regardless of the rumors swirling within the city, the atmosphere in the tallest stone hall remained tense and severe, so oppressive that it was difficult for anyone to breathe. Inside the stone hall, the white-robed man sat expressionlessly on the stone throne. His pale, slender fingers gently tapped on the armrest, the faint, crisp sound echoing in the deathly silent hall, making everyone hold their breath, not daring to exhale. Below the white-robed man, many figures stood. These were the elites of the Demonic Rock Dynasty. However, it was evident that there were quite a few empty seats. Lin Dong's capture of Lei Shi, Chen Mu, and others in one fell swoop had inflicted a significant blow, even for the Demonic Rock Dynasty. After all, considerable resources had been invested to cultivate these individuals. Senior brother Shi Xuan, it's been 3 days, and there's still no sign of Lin Dong. Could it be that he's just playing with us? After a long silence, one of the figures finally couldn't hold back and whispered, "That brat has the guts of a wild dog. Who knows what tricks he used to capture Lei Shi and the others, and then got arrogant enough to provoke our Demonic Rock Dynasty. But maybe after calming down over the past 2 days, he realized how foolish he was and chickened out." Another person scoffed, clearly harboring a lot of resentment toward Lin Dong for the anxiety he had caused them over the past 2 days. Although Lei Shi failed during the Nirvana tribulation, his strength has significantly improved. Ordinary Nirvana experts are no match for him. With Chen Mu and the others assisting, anyone who hasn't passed the Nirvana tribulation would find it hard to capture them. But Lin Dong managed to do it. "We must be wary of this person," remarked a cautious-looking individual, shaking his head gravely. His words made many in the hall secretly roll their eyes. Lin Dong had only recently become a heavenly talisman master, and defeating Chen Mu alone would be a challenge. If he had indeed captured Lei Shi and the others purely through his own abilities, none of them would believe it for a second. The white-robed man on the stone throne, referred to as Shi Xuan, cast an indifferent glance at the arguing crowd below. After a moment, he spoke calmly. "This matter is already spread. Whether that brat shows up or not, we cannot tolerate his existence. Once we capture him, I want his corpse hanging at the gates of Demonic Rock City, lest anyone forget the power of our Demonic Rock Dynasty. So, if that brat does show up and any negligence on your part allows him to escape, then you'll take his place hanging on the city wall. Rest assured, Senior Brother Shi Xuan, we have made all the necessary preparations. If that brat dares to appear, he won't escape no matter what." Hearing Shi Xuan's emotionless, cold voice, everyone in the stone hall shivered slightly and hastily nodded in agreement. "Senior Brother Shi Xuan, our eldest senior brother is currently away. Should we send a message to have him return?" One person hesitantly asked. "No need. Big Brother is currently vying for another ancient key. This trivial matter doesn't require his attention. Besides, I want to see for myself what skills this Lin Dong has that make him bold enough to trample on our Demonic Rock Dynasty." Shi Xuan waved his hand, a chilling glint in his eyes that sent a shiver down everyone's spine. The group below nodded respectfully at Shi Xuan's words. They were well aware of his strength, and if Lin Dong dared to show himself, he would surely have no chance of returning alive. Shi Xuan's gaze swept over the stone hall, his cold expression slightly restrained. He was just about to dismiss everyone to make their final preparations when his eyes suddenly narrowed. The figure on the stone throne abruptly stood up, his gaze piercing through the hall to a distant point beyond the Demonic Rock Dynasty's territory. A sinister smile slowly crept across his lips. "He's finally here, huh? He truly has some nerve." Seeing Shi Xuan's sudden movement, the crowd in the stone hall was momentarily stunned. They quickly understood and turned their gazes outside the city. Was the main event finally about to unfold? Shortly after Shi Xuan sensed it, the entire Demonic Rock City was thrown into a sudden commotion. The city had no shortage of powerful individuals. Though they were not as formidable as Shi Xuan, they too, sensed the impending arrival not long after. In the vast city, a sudden rush of wind swept through as numerous figures darted across. all heading towards the towering city walls. All eyes turned to the distant horizon beyond the city, where a small black dot was rapidly enlarging. He's coming. Lin Dong is actually coming. This guy really doesn't know what's good for him. Such reckless behavior may have made him famous, but I'm afraid he won't live long enough to enjoy that fame. Indeed, it's said that Shi Xuan of the Demonic Rock Dynasty is in a rage right now. He's someone who has truly passed through the Nirvana tribulation. Does that guy really think that just because he captured Lei Shi and his companions, he's qualified to challenge someone like Shi Xuan? A fool's dream. The entire city seemed to release its pent-up anticipation all at once. Whispers spread across the city walls, most filled with schadenfreude as they watched the black dot grow larger. Of course, a few looked on with genuine interest. Based on Lin Dong's ability to capture Lei Shi and the others, this person clearly possessed some skill. He didn't seem like a fool, so his seemingly reckless action could only mean one of two things. Either he was seeking death, or he was truly confident that he could escape unscathed, even when facing someone as powerful as Shi Xuan. Those with sharp, discerning minds would naturally discard the first conclusion. No one in this world would seek their own death. Given this, it must be the second scenario, which piqued the curiosity of some of the city's strong. As residents of Demonic Rock City, they were well aware of Shi Xuan's formidable strength. Even they could not confidently claim they could escape unscathed from his grasp, let alone Lin Dong, who had just recently become a heavenly talisman master. Under such speculation, the eyes of countless onlookers on the city walls grew even more intense. The black dot gradually expanded under everyone's gaze, finally transforming into a majestic, crimson, tiger-shaped beast. It flapped its wide wings, its red scales gleaming brilliantly under the sunlight, appearing both imposing and powerful. Many eyes lingered on this beast for a moment before looking upwards. There, a young figure appeared in their sight. This figure stood with his hands hanging loosely by his sides, a faint smile on his face. He didn't seem particularly remarkable, but only those with keen instincts could sense the sharpness hidden behind that smile. The beast stopped several hundred meters away from Demonic Rock City. Standing on its back, Lin Dong glanced at the dense mass of people on the city walls, then looked toward the stone tower in the center of the city. His voice, wrapped in powerful primordial energy, spread out clearly. Demonic Rock Dynasty, come out to make the exchange. Boom! As Lin Dong's words fell, a powerful surge of primordial energy, filled with hidden killing intent, suddenly erupted from the stone tower. A white-robed figure shot out from within, appearing on the city wall within moments. His icy gaze, cold enough to chill to the bone, locked onto Lin Dong atop the tiger's back. Shi Xuan. Seeing the newcomer, a wave of murmurs spread across the city walls. Clearly, the crowd recognized the ruler of Demonic Rock City, and their eyes, filled with schadenfreude, turned towards Lin Dong. So, you're Lin Dong? I'm genuinely surprised you dared to show up. Shi Xuan spoke calmly, his hands clasped behind his back, his gaze as sharp as a viper's, fixed intently on Lin Dong. Lin Dong's eyes focused on the figure, noting the powerful aura emanating from his body. His pupils contracted slightly. The Demonic Rock Dynasty was indeed extraordinary. This man had clearly passed through a Nirvana tribulation, marking him as a true expert of the first Nirvana stage. Under the scrutiny of countless eyes, Lin Dong stared at Shi Xuan, then smiled, stretching lazily before raising his hand and beckoning toward Shi Xuan. Enough with the nonsense. Hand over the Nirvana Pills. The commotion on the city walls fell into a brief silence, and all eyes turned to Shi Xuan. His body was now surrounded by an even thicker aura of coldness, the sinister curve of his lips widening further. Everyone knew that today's events were about to turn into quite a spectacle.